Before I start, I'd first like to thank everyone for the support so far on the channel, including this video in particular. It really means a lot to me knowing that this is helping the community and are enjoying my content above all. Since Void 3.0's rework was released, it has been the player's top tier subclass of choice when it comes to doing most content in the game on Warlocks. However, I believe looking at my build after today, this might be a great contender for that top tier choice of subclass when it comes to choosing what to use. Hello, my name is ERATTIC, and my Stasis build might just be the very thing you'll want to use after this video. If you enjoy anything you see in today's video whilst watching, then please be sure to hit the like and subscribe for more. Just like my Void Walker video, which I highly recommend you go and watch if you haven't already, we are going to first start at the subclass with its fragments, aspects and abilities, and then move on to the armor with mods, and finally my weapons of choice. Just a reminder that all the things you see today are not the be all end all for this build, meaning you don't have to use these things to get the best results. But the things I use that you'll see will massively help you if you wish to copy this. There is many ways to go about it, so I recommend you take this as a template and then personalize the build to make it your own. So first, looking at the subclass, I am running a Healing Rift, Burst Glide, the only melee for Stasis, and the Cold Snap Grenade, which is going to seek out a target and freeze them and then seek out another target. All the abilities here are pretty self-explanatory other than making sure you have to have the Cold Snap Grenades equipped. Moving on to the aspects I'm running, I'm using Bleak Watcher, which will allow me to convert my grenade by charging it into a stasis turret that shoots out slowing projectiles to nearby enemy targets in bursts of 3 shots. I'm also using Glacial Harvest, which will allow me to create stasis shards when I'm making a target frozen. The higher tier the target is, the more stasis shards I will create. For my fragments, I use Whisper of Shards that helps me boost my grenade recharge rate when I shatter a stasis crystal. So the great thing about this is that with my Headstone perk that I'm running on my kinetic stasis weapons means I'll be doing this all the time, and the regen rate can stack up to a duration of 30 seconds, which for in-game time is a long time. I also receive 10 resilience, which helps with stats. I'm using Whisper of Conduction to help me track the shards I create towards me, so I don't have to think about running after them so much when I create them. I also gain 10 intellect and resilience, which helps me with stats. I'm using Whisper of Fissures, which increases the damage and the size of the burst of stasis when a crystal is broken, or killing a frozen target, as it says in the description. This basically helps with making our kinetic stasis weapon a one-man show, besides to making our grenades the primary usage of killing enemies. I finally have Whisper of Rending on, which makes kinetic weapons do increased damage to crystals and frozen targets, so this helps me get my abilities faster via breaking the crystals faster and giving my primary stasis weapon almost a damage boost. Quickly looking over all my stats here, I have 3 mobility, 6 resilience, 10 recovery, 10 discipline, 4 intellect, and 3 strength. Biggest thing to take away from this is making sure you have 10 discipline to get that grenade regen to a base rate cooldown of 58 seconds. Onto my armor mods, starting at the helmet, I have Stasis Siphon, which helps me generate orbs of power when I'm getting stasis final blows. I'm also running Well of Restoration, which helps me gain energy for my lowest ability on cooldown when I pick up stasis wells. Next are my exotic gauntlets, being the Osmiomancy gloves that comes with the armor perk Fervid Cold Snap. Your Cold Snap grenades have an additional charge that recharges quicker on direct impact. The Seeker spawned from Cold Snap grenades travels further. This allows me to hold 2 grenades instead of 1, and never allowing any energy for grenades to go to waste because we are gaining so much of it. The Seekers allow the Cold Snaps to go a greater distance than usual, giving it an enhancement. Recharging on impact for this, however, is ridiculous because it's also affected by the quantity of enemies you hit. So if you hit 5 at the same time with 1 Cold Snap, then you pretty much will have gained a full grenade back and be probably halfway to getting your next one. In the gauntlets, I am running double grenade kickstart, which allows me to gain a large amount of grenade energy back when I've thrown a grenade out. I also have on the end Font of Might, that's going to allow me to boost my stasis weapon damage when I pick up a stasis well because it will be matching my subclass energy. In the chest, I have thermoshock plating, which reduces incoming solar and arc damage, helping me with survivability, and a restoration mod just like my helmet because they stack. In my legs, I've got Absolution, which reduces all my ability cooldowns when I pick up orbs. I then have Orbs of Restoration, which give me a small amount of energy to my least charged ability when I pick up an orb. I then use Elemental Shards, which turn all my Stasis Shards basically into Stasis Wells for me. Finally, in my Bond, I have Double Bomber, which reduces my grenade cooldown when I use my class ability. And lastly, Font of Wisdom, which significantly improves the charge for my super when I'm picking up Stasis Wells. So moving on to weapons, I wanted to cover, most importantly, the kinetic slot, and that's making sure we use a stasis weapon with a headstone perk on, because that's going to allow us to create crystals when we're getting precision kills, and that can help with making the shards acting as our wells and AoE clearing in general. So anything like Eyes of Luna, which is my favourite to use with headstone, things like Peace Bomb sidearm from Iron Banner, you've got the Crate Auto Rifle, the Forensic Nightmare SMG, and the Perseus D Scout Rifle. So any of these weapons are viable. It doesn't matter which one you use, just as long as it has headstone, it will work just fine. So to accommodate the different difficulties of whatever activity I'm doing, maybe as a team player, I'm either running in the energy slot the Divinity, which is going to allow me to provide support in killing bosses faster or champions faster. If I don't need to do that necessarily, I'll run Dead Messenger to make ad clearing for me even faster. In the heavy slot, I am running the Palmyra rocket launcher, which is a stasis rocket launcher, so it's very nice in terms of gaining the stasis weapon damage boost effects that I'm creating, which is going to help me increase the DPS of this overall build in general when I'm using my heavy. However, if I'm not running the rocket launcher, I do like to run Parasite because it helps at so many tiers of content, which is usually the case of going through the flow of small minions and then moving on to maybe mages or champs, which in case I like to hot swap to the Parasite to get rid of those to then go back to my primary, which would be my Eyes Luna. A couple final things to note about this build as well is you can use things like the Aegis Scepter, which is an exotic trace rifle in the kinetic slot, which can help with locking down all the adds so much faster. I don't have the catalyst, which is why I haven't shown it today, but I just wanted to show at least that everyone, at least if they didn't have the Aegis Scepter, could use a simple legendary weapon with the headstone perk on, which can do just as well. And I also wanted to talk about my build consisting of all elemental well mods, and the fact that I'm not even technically making elemental wells, I'm just creating stasis shards and then using a mod to make those shards act as wells. So we could have made today a Charged with Light mod build, which could have consisted of 5 firepower mods and then 1 of the armor slots taking up a Taking Charge mod, and then that would have allowed us to have gained the most potential to probably get grenade energy back when we throw a grenade out. I believe that the Charged with Light build is better if you want to push those grenades to their max potential, because you might get the most grenade energy back that way. Unfortunately, I didn't get time to test that out alongside the Elemental Well build I created today, so if you want to do that, then you can do. For me, I kept this build because it can open up to others with what you can do alongside the grenades in terms of pushing the DPS with weapons, gaining supers faster, and like I mentioned in the thumbnail, that I am capable of throwing a turret and then throwing cold snaps all the time to get my grenades back, and proceeding to throw another stasis turret when I need it, which is what I essentially meant when I have infinite, because I should always have one ready to go. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you stuck around to the end, that's awesome, and let me know what you think about this build and video in general in the comments down below, and I'll see you all in the next one.